Fred and Sheila McCoy.
Hi.
We're at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. FredMcCoy.com or HatfieldsMcCoysMuseum.com for all the information. We're in a different room.
Yep. This is our cabin room, we call it. The 1800's, what it would look like back then.
Yep. Yeah, we basically fixed it up on what the people lived like back in the 1800s. I'm sure there's some out there older than me or as old. I'm sure a lot of you remember the old outhouses. When I grew up, we started out with an outhouse. Then we got bathrooms, Mom and Dad did, but my grandparents, up until years and years, they never had indoor plumbing. They had a well outside. They had toilets, the outdoor outhouse we had to go to.
Yeah.
We wanted to drink water. You went out to the well and you pulled your water up. Usually had a snake, a black snake or a water snake hanging on the side of that well in them rocks.
Yeah.
And and that's only in the 60s and 70s. Imagine going back to the 20s, 30s, or go back to the 1800s. And
yeah, that was really hard on storing people. My grandpa had an outhouse, and I did not like that thing at all.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what it's like to have to go outside and old stinky outhouse beside the flies and the smell. Just,
spiders.
Snakes. It was just it was a different era, different time. We don't know how good we've got it, especially children today.
I will say that the spring water that my grandpa had, he always had a little dipper there hanging on the side, and we could go out and get a drink from that, and it was, oh man, it was the best water.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like spring or well water. Mom and Pa always had good wells. There's some wells back home that had sulfur. They were low to the creek or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever smelled old sulfur water or not.
No.
Oh God, it's unbearable to smell, much less to drink. But some wells, they wouldn't go deep enough, or they would hit sulfur water.
Ooh.
In this room here, we're not done with it.
No.
This is Sheila's little.
It's one of my favorite rooms.
Well, it's her doing. She's what you see. She's basically planned it out or set it up. She's got some canned goods here.
Yeah.
How they always canned their food back in them days. There's a pan of bread that they made and put on the table.
Yep.
And of course, fruit. They always had fruit and vegetables from the garden or the fruit trees.
And they always canned everything so that they have it to eat on through the winter months.
Here is the old churn where they sat and churn. They put their cow's milk in a churn and sit there and churn for hours until it would get thick and finally turn to butter.
I've seen my mom and my grandpa do that when I was little.
My grandmother, Mom McCoy, she would sell. She sold eggs and she sold white cow butter.
Yeah.
And people would pull up out the driveway, and when we was kids, she'd say, run this out there to them, and we'd take a little cup of butter, and I think they'd give us 50 cents is what they sold it for.
Wow.
And of course, like I said, Paul, he worked in the mines at one time, but he was also a blacksmith, and that's how between him and her selling eggs and butter, things like that, that's how they made their money.
Yep, Mom used to make money from selling like garden foods. We'd plant extra, and then she would sell the peas and like corn, tomatoes, whatever. She would sell that. People were just coming up to our house all the time.
Sure.
Buying green beans and peas and stuff. That's how she made her extra money.
People, they don't even grow their own gardens. I mean, that's. But over here by the bed, you'll see there's a
Peapot?
chamber pot,
Yep.
peapot,
Peapot.
pea pot, well, that's what we always call them.
Yeah.
The correct name for it, I think they called it for the richer homes maybe, but a chamber pot.
Still a pea
But
pot.
that's where what you would pee in at night if you didn't want to go outside. I've even seen some people, they raining outside or storming or cold, didn't want to go outside and use it for their number 2 even.
Yeah.
When I was a little boy, we'd go over on the weekends and stay with my mom's mom and dad, and that was the job. We'd get up in the morning, we had to take out the pea pot, dump it, and oh God, that thing stunk. And
probably the ashes too for the fireplace.
oh yeah, ashes, and of course we'd have to mow McCoy. We lived on Ma and Pa McCoy, big piece, well, not a big piece of land to us, it was a big piece back then. Now you look at it, a little, you know, it's not big at all. You got mountains on both sides of you in a little area. But when I was a kid, we would play in that field. We thought that was the awfulest field ever was. Look at it now, and it's a skip and throw a rock across it probably.
Yeah, yeah.
But we would have to, every evening, we would get Mom and Pa's coal in. We had 5 coal buckets.
Yeah.
They had 2 fireplaces in their house, one in the living room and one on the other side in the bedroom. And we get 5 buckets of coal, 3 lump, and 3 slack. Slack is just real thin, you just pour it out.
Yeah.
And that's how they would bank the fire at night. They'd put their lump coal on there,
Yeah.
and then they'd take that bucket of slack
Yeah.
and smother the fire completely out.
Really?
Yeah, you'd think it was going to go out.
Yeah.
And it would go out, it seemed like. There wouldn't be no heat for a while. You'd go get in your bed,
Yeah.
and by the time, about 2 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden that house would heat up, and
Really?
that fire would take off and start burning big
Good.
until about 5 o'clock or 6, and then by the time you got up,
It was cold again.
it was cold again. Oh, you dreaded getting out of that bed because it was so cold.
What is your
And what did the old people do?
Well, to keep warm, they would take heat rocks or a little rock. He's got one of it. Don't watch your back. And they would put this in the fire to get it warm because it holds heat. And if you see there, you would take that and you would get it nice and warm, and then you would take it and you'd put it in your bed, cover it up with your blankets. It's kind of like what we do for electric blankets. They did this. They heated up their beds by heating up this rock, putting it at the foot of their bed, at their feet, and then their bed would stay warm for however long, but they would go to sleep nice and warm.
They would put that real close to the fire, right on the hearth, and let it collect heat for a couple hours before they went to
Get
bed.
good and hot.
And of course, there's the old hunting rifle.
Yeah.
Everybody had one of them back in the old days for either game or protection.
Lanterns, we've got one hanging, and then there's some on the tables and
They
stuff.
had their lanterns, they had their candles,
Yeah.
and what they use them over there for, them old cones.
Well, you could use them, you could
pine
decorate them,
cones.
pine cones for smell, for decorations, or toss them in the fire.
And
They're mostly decorations for that. Here's your base portion. They would always fill this up with water, of course, you know, and then dump it in here and wash their face.
there's their old shaving mirror and razors.
Look at this. Uh-oh. The little brush that goes with it. And then down in here, was this where they put like the water or soap and
That was their soap.
And they
their
would-
little soap thing they would rub up their brush up against to get
Yeah.
Yep, there's a candle over there. There's the razors. There's the old washboard.
yeah, oh man, you talking about being tough. I can't imagine having to wash my clothes on something like this. That would wear the skin off your fingers. And I'm sure it did them.
Over there beside of her, that's the old crock. That big old white thing is a crock. And a lot of people, especially back in our day, I know we love pickled corn growing up.
Oh yeah.
Some people despise pickled corn. They can't imagine eating it, but it's pickled corn. And it's,
Good stuff.
you put your pickled corn down in there with your pickling salt
Mm-hmm.
and put you a piece of cheesecloth or something over top of it.
Right.
Set
Right.
it set it in a room that's real cool
And dark.
and dark.
Yeah.
And you'd leave it for, was it 21 days?
21 days. Yeah.
For
Right.
20, we always cheated. We had 10, 15 days.
Couldn't wait.
We was already, but you would go in there at the end of it and you would raise up that cheesecloth and they would be nothing but mold.
Yeah.
Old, ugly, smelly mold.
It looks nasty, but man, is it
That
good.
made a topping over top of it.
Yep.
And we'd reach down there and get us a roasting ear,
Rinse it off.
rinse it off, and you talk about something good. Is that pickled corn
Oh
or
my goodness.
how they used to do with their pinto beans? They'd shave it off the
Shave it, Yeah.
shave it off the cob, put it in a pan and fry it.
Yeah.
And some people likes it like that, but that's a waste. I like
No, we did that. That's why my daddy would like
well,
it.
Dad did too, but I liked it.
He would
just-
take it off the cob, and then Mom would fry it in a skillet, make it good and warm, and then he'd eat it. Seemed like to me it was more sour.
But this is the old, she's gonna get the camera here in a minute. I'll get out of the way.
Oh, you're good.
And she'll just walk around. And again, this room is not finished, nowhere
No.
near. If you think of anything while you're watching this video,
That we could add.
if you think of anything that we need to add to this room or that you can think of that your grandparents had or parents and
Yeah.
you think would be good to put in this room, we're open to suggestions. You'll have to
Yeah.
email us or
Yeah.
you'll have to text us either on our phones. Our phone numbers, our email addresses, everything is on our website.
Yeah.
And because the comments, of course, are off.
Sorry.
Some of our videos are controversial.
Yeah.
Well, some of our videos are the truth, and this is not going to be a negative video. We want this one to be fun, but some people can't handle the truth, and I don't. You know, you can argue all day long. We can argue about anything, but that don't make it true.
Right.
So all we're trying to do with our other videos is put the stories out there, and it's up to each individual to believe them or not, or look at the proof that we give. But that's why we had to turn the comments off. We really don't want to debate it, don't want to argue with people. It's no big deal. Either you believe what we show proof of or you don't. If you're open-minded, you'll look at the evidence and you'll go with the evidence. If you're so far growing up and heard these tales all your life and you want to believe that, then that's fine too.
It's a choice.
We're going to continue to do our Keeping It Real videos, and we've got several to come. We're going to start on some books, and we're just going to dissect these books that people has written throughout the years. And when you start seeing what people actually wrote, and you see the court documents or the legal papers, you're going to say, how in the world did they do that? How did they get it so wrong? How they got it so wrong is they were lazy. And rather than to research or go find the documentation or prove the point, they just wrote what they thought nobody would ever research or check. So the videos to come, we've still got Keeping Real videos coming. So, but we just thought we'd take a break today.
Something different.
And at this time, I'm going to get up and get out of here. Sheila's going to show you around.
Okay.
And there's an old apron there.
Yeah, we've got aprons and corn on the wall and everything. So, here we go. We've got corn here on the wall. And of course, there's their chairs and their apron. And a plate. And the lights. And a Bible. So you can see all of that. Fruit, canning jars. Like you said, there was the churn that they made their butter in. And you got to see all this. This right here is a toolbox. And then there's the crock where they can use to put their pickled corn in or whatever. This washboard. The water basin. And the pine cones. And the chamber pot. Then here's an old bed with some long johns on it. There's a nightgown. That looks good. Here's the bed. The lantern is up here in the corner. There is a kettle that they would cook over the fire with.
Go ahead.
And oh, no, you don't have to do that.
Go ahead.
This is what they would cook on their fireplace. It's a big old pot. We've got it sitting out here so you can cook outside. But usually they had like an arm or something here that they could swing on, set it on, put it on there and cook it.
Sure.
Stir it and watch it all day. And of course, here's a coffee pot there. You can set it on there. And there's, you know, a gun over the fireplace. And a thing for wood. It's up in an iron skillet. But this is our cabin room. An iron. Can you imagine, ladies, using an iron like this, heat it up on the stove or fireplace, I should say, and then trying to iron clothes? Man, this thing is heavy.
Well, really, I've always wondered who ironed their clothes back in them days. You know,
Yeah.
why would you? You were farmers and.
Well, they hung them out to dry on the lines.
Yeah,
So.
but there's your
The
corn.
corn?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a little barrier that goes across here.
Yes.
When they come into this room, they stop right here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this one light here, hold that
Yeah,
right
we'll
there.
show you. We'll show you
And,
what it looks like.
We don't have, we just put the white light on. Here's what it would normally
Look like.
We wasn't for sure if you could see it like that, but it would be had been dark, lit by candlelight or oil lamps. So,
Yeah.
alrighty.
All right. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Okay.
Bye.